more crimes than whites do.
Okay, well, first of all,
I don't pretend blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Okay, well, first of all, what he means by blacks commit more crimes.
I don't pretend blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Okay, well, first of all, what he means by blacks commit more crimes is, in fact, that African Americans are more often convicted of committing crimes in the United States than any other racial demographic, which is very different from what he said. All that indicates is that the so-called criminal justice system in the United States is primarily only effective in the selective investigation, prosecution, and conviction of African Americans and other so-called minorities, as opposed to investigating, prosecuting, and convicting white perpetrators. The statistics that he's citing are actually an evidence arguing racial bias in policing, in prosecution, and in trials. It's not an evidence of greater criminality along racial demographic lines, no. Rather, it's only the assignment of criminality that falls along racial lines. I mean, more than half of all violent crimes in the United States go unsolved, overwhelmingly the case in certain types of violent crimes. So we're not talking actually about a criminal justice system that works, that's actually effective, that's actually efficient, that actually does its job. What we have is a criminal justice system that disproportionately seems to only quote-unquote work when the perpetrators are not white. African American victims of homicide, by the way, make up most of the victims of homicide cases that go unsolved, whereas most homicide cases in which the victim is white, those get solved. In other words, crimes against white people are more likely to get solved than crimes against African American people or any other so-called minority group, a member of the global majority. And they're even more likely to get solved when the perpetrator of the crime happens to be African American. So in other words, if you're a white victim, you're more likely to get justice, and if you're a white perpetrator, you're more likely to escape justice. That's the system, and that's all that is evidenced by what he's saying. So when you look at the number of unsolved crimes, it's not unreasonable to assume that the, say, 60% or so of violent crimes in America that never get solved, that those are very possibly crimes committed by white people against African American people or against other so-called minority groups. So rather than saying blacks commit more crimes than anyone else in America, it would be more honest to say that no one who commits a crime in America is more likely to be punished for that crime than an African American. And in fact, it's also more likely for an African American person to be wrongfully convicted of a crime of which they are accused. And it's more likely for them to even be punished for that, even when they have been proven innocent. And you can look at the case right now of Marcellus Williams. So the statistics that he's citing actually only substantiate the belief that the so-called criminal justice system in the United States is a major component of what you can call a systematic domestic ethnic cleansing program in America, being carried out against African Americans and other members of the global majority. That's all that is evidenced by the statistics that he's citing. And this, in fact, demonstrates a vastly greater degree of criminality than anything that he mentioned. And I would go further to say that this speaker himself, with the statistics that he's mentioning and the interpretation that he's putting on those statistics, that he himself occupies a propaganda role in that ethnic cleansing system, for which, in my opinion, he could and should be prosecuted under international law. So I really would hope that people would take this more seriously and understand the gravity of what so-called minority groups, members of the global majority, what they are facing and what they are enduring, and the human rights violations that are committed against them in the United States, that you would take that more seriously, so that when you see someone who is clearly playing a propaganda role in support of what, again, does constitute an ethnic cleansing program in America, when you see someone who is occupying a role of propaganda in support of that system, normalizing that system, justifying that system, rationalizing that system, understand that this person is a criminal. And inshallah, one day they will face justice for that, and should not be regarded simply as someone who is airing offensive or controversial views. No, you should take this more seriously, and not simply use it as an opportunity to have a debate with someone like this. They shouldn't be debated, they should be prosecuted.
blacks commit more crimes than whites.
Now, he kept saying so-called, well, he said African Americans, and he said other minorities. Um, but the other minorities is Latinos, because it's not East Indians, it's not Chinese, it's not Japanese, it's not Africans. You know, we're Hebrew Israelites, so, but he kept on saying African Americans. We're not African or Americans. But, the way he talked about the other minorities, there are no other minorities but the Latinos, which prove those curses, which prove that they're Israelites too. Also, he's right about what he was saying, though. I agree with everything he was saying, except the African American part and the other minorities. You do have some Filipinos or Samoans, and a few of them, very few of them, but they most likely Jake. But the majority of men and women incarcerated is so-called black and Latinos. And that's because, we're all the children of Israel and we're under the curses. Also, what I was going to mention, yeah, that's why they don't have, you never see, there's thousands and thousands of other ethnicities in America, such as Chinese, Japanese. You don't see them, but they're here. And if you do statistics, they're here in great numbers. Also, like Afghanistanians and if I'm saying that right, and other ethnic groups, but you don't see them in jail. So that's the thing. And also, I'm gonna put a couple of scriptures. They slay us and hold themselves not guilty is one of them. They seek out privately against the poor and persecute the poor. This is purposely done. It's a system. It's, of course, it's a system that, feeds on racism through these elite people that have control over or the elite men that have control over the jail system itself, that's controlling the jurisdiction system. They pick out the jurymen to be the judges of these matters, so they can prosecute so-called black, Latino on a mass level, especially so-called black men. But yeah, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, double understood apostles, elders, great and bishops, great millstone, much salutations to the brothers, teaching word for the hope for elect, soon to be elect, most I will. Yeah, and these people don't know. Edom's children and unlearned Americans don't know the depths of this system. They don't know the depths of the devil, which is so-called white man. So it's easy for them to say blacks commit more crimes. And like he said, through this media, and through targeting, so-called black, Latino in neighborhoods with, basically it's a form of martial law. They don't call it that, but it is, where they probe the grounds of ghettos and projects all over the world of America. It's easy to say, yeah, black people are more criminal and they're more likely to commit crimes. They commit more crimes, and that's false. no matter what we see and how we see it. And it's a lot of it's due when they do it. A lot of it's due to oppression. And I won't let my people off the hook with that, but we are under the curses, but the oppression of the so-called white man as the oppressor, puts us in a hole to where, growing up as young men, teenagers, feel that the only solution is to take what I don't have. And that's where the robbing and stealing comes from, which leads to killing and murder. So, but I'm not justifying that. I'm just drawing that picture. Anyway, hopefully it's edifying to the next video. Shalom. I'm going to post some videos. And to the next one. Shalom.